Have you ever tapped your card at a checkout and seen approved appear almost instantly? It feels like your money just jumped from your bank account to the store, but that is not what happened. In fact, when that green message appears, your money usually has not moved anywhere yet. The store does not have your money. Your bank has not sent your money. No truck full of cash has left the bank. No digital dollars have raced across the country. So why does the payment already say approved? Because that message does not mean your money arrived. It means something much more interesting happened first. The payment system made a promise. That tiny promise is one of the biggest reasons modern payments takes seconds instead of minutes. It quietly powers billions of purchases every day, whether you buy coffee, groceries, movie tickets, or a new phone. The same hidden system is working behind the scenes. Most people never notice it. They only see a card reader, they hear a beep, then they walk away. But in those few seconds, banks, payment networks, and computers around the world have already held a conversation. And that conversation determines whether your purchase can happen before any money actually changes hands. Welcome to You Know What, the channel that reveals the hidden systems behind the ordinary things you use every day. Today, we're uncovering why your payment gets approved before your money moves. The secret begins with a simple misunderstanding. Most of us imagine paying with a card the same way we pay with cash. When you hand someone cash, ownership changes immediately. The money leaves your hand and enters theirs. A card payment works differently. Instead of moving money first, it checks whether moving the money will be possible. Think of it like reserving a seat on an airplane. When you book a ticket, the airline does not fly you anywhere that moment. It simply guarantees that a seat will be waiting for you. Your card payment works in much the same way. When you tap your card, the checkout terminal sends a request to the payment network. The payment network passes that request to your bank. Your bank looks at several things almost instantly. Is the card valid? Is there enough available money? Does this purchase look suspicious? Has the card been reported stolen? If everything looks normal, your bank sends back a single answer: approved. But notice what happened. Your bank did not send the money, it only reserved it. That reserved amount is set aside so it cannot be spent somewhere else. The payment industry calls this authorization. Authorization is permission. It is not a transfer. That single difference explains almost everything about modern card payments. Authorization solves the store's biggest question. Can I safely give this customer the product right now? The answer arrives in just a few seconds. That speed is what keeps checkout lines moving. Imagine if every purchase had to wait for money to travel from one bank to another before you could leave the store. Buying groceries could take several minutes. Coffee shops would have long lines stretching out the door. Online shopping would feel painfully slow. Instead, the payment system separates one job into two different steps. The first step is authorization. The second step is settlement. Authorization happens while you are standing at the checkout. Settlement happens later, after you have already left. This separation is one of the smartest design decisions in modern banking. Once your purchase is approved, the merchant knows the funds have been reserved. Now the business can hand over the product with confidence. But the actual money is still sitting inside the banking system. At the end of the business day, the merchant sends all of its approved transactions together. Instead of processing every sale one by one, they are collected into a batch. That batch tells the payment system exactly how much the business should receive. Only then does the real movement of money begin. The merchant's bank starts collecting the funds. Your bank prepares to send them. The payment network keeps track of the information flowing between both sides. This process is called settlement. Settlement is the moment when the promise made during authorization is finally fulfilled. This also explains something you may have noticed in your banking app. Sometimes a purchase appears as pending. A pending transaction usually means the authorization has happened, but settlement has not finished yet. The money has been reserved. The final transfer is still being completed. That delay is perfectly normal. In fact, many businesses rely on it. Hotels often reserve an amount before your stay. Gas stations may temporarily reserve more than the final cost of the fuel. Restaurants sometimes approve the bill first and adjust the total after a tip is added. In every case, the approval comes before the final movement of money. The system was designed this way on purpose. It gives businesses confidence. It gives banks time to verify transactions, and it gives customers a fast checkout experience. But there is another hidden trick that makes this entire system even more efficient. If banks had to send money after every single purchase, they would be making billions of transfers every day. Instead, they found a much smarter solution. Imagine two neighbors borrowing small amounts of money from each other all week. One buys lunch on Monday, the other pays for coffee on Tuesday. By the end of the week, they do not need to repay every single purchase. They only need to settle the difference. Banks use a remarkably similar idea. Every day, millions of customers buy things from businesses that use different banks. Money appears to be flowing in every direction at once. But instead of sending a separate transfer for every purchase, banks first calculate what they owe each other. They add up all of the payments going one way. They add up all of the payments coming back. Then they transfer only the final difference. This process is called netting. It dramatically reduces the amount of money that actually needs to move through the financial system. That saves time. It reduces costs. It also lowers risk. In other words, the payment system moves far more information than it moves money. That is the hidden system most people never see. When you tap your card, information races across secure networks in seconds. The actual money follows later in a carefully organized process. This design also makes the system safer. Before settlement is complete, banks continue checking for signs of fraud. They compare the purchase with your normal spending habits. They look for unusual locations. They analyze patterns that might indicate someone else is using your card. Most of these checks happen so quickly that you never notice them. You simply hear the beep and walk away. By the time you reach the parking lot, the payment has been approved. But the money is still making its journey through the banking system. The next time you buy a coffee or groceries, remember what that green approved message really means. It is not saying your money has arrived. It is saying your bank has verified this purchase, reserved the funds, and promised they will be transferred. That promise allows businesses to serve customers almost instantly. It allows millions of stores to keep checkout lines moving. And it allows billions of people to trust complete strangers every single day. So the fastest part of your payment is not the money itself. It is the information that proves the money can move. That tiny difference is what keeps the modern economy running at the speed we now take for granted. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden systems behind everyday life, subscribe to You Know What, because the most fascinating secrets are often hiding inside the ordinary moments we never think twice about.